Hi, I'm Thea. Everyone said I was crazy when I opened the first restaurant in a desolate Miami warehouse district. Now the whole world knows that as Wynwood. Then I did it again in Alapata. Ever wonder how a place goes from not to hot? Join me for a behind-the-scenes look at what really goes into igniting a neighborhood. We'll talk with the risk takers, the pioneers, the restaurateurs, the real sparks of neighborhood ignition. This is Thea's Neighborhood Magic. Welcome to Thea's Neighborhood Magic. This week, I talk with the unstoppable force that is Bernice Steinbaum. Bernice opened her eponymous gallery at the gateway to Wynwood in 2000, bringing prestige to the fledgling art district. We met in her spectacular home gallery, where we talk about pioneering, creating community, and her trailblazing career. Well, I'm very excited to be sitting here with the icon, the legend, and my friend, Bernice Steinbaum.
Thank you. Thank you
so much for doing this with me, for spending some time with me. 2-story space, 10,000 square feet, kind of classic Bernice, go big or go home. Right. Super bold. In those days, 2001, no Midtown.
No Midtown.
No Midtown.
And people would say, you know, this is not a walking area like Madison Avenue. I said, well,
no, what gave that away, right?
Right. And I said, well, make it a walking area like Madison Avenue.
So did your clients come willingly, or did they put up resistance?
No, they did. I was very fortunate. I had clients in Florida who loved my gallery in New York, and they came. And my clients that lived in New York also came. And it was, I don't believe she's leaving New York because I'm such a New York kid.
And it wasn't your first time pioneering. You'd done this in Soho. You were on Green Street way before anybody else was there.
Right.
So you weren't a novice at pioneering.
No, but I have to tell you a wonderful story. The first gallery I bought and didn't rent was on Green Street. And I fell in love with that gallery, and I knew it would work for me because it was another 2-story. And always the thought about people should see a lot of things, at least all of your artists, to get a feeling for what you're about. In any case, I went to the bank and I said, I need a loan. And they said, do you have P and L's? I thought that was pantyhose. And long stockings. What would I know about P&Ls? I said, of course I have P&Ls. So I called up my accountant, whose name was Kelly Strait. If you have to have an accountant, Kelly Strait is the right name. I said, Kelly, do we have P&Ls? She said, of course we have P&Ls. And so I said, oh, send it to the bank. And I said, remember, we have to close on a Thursday because doctors' day off is Thursday. And I know I'll need him to sign. So, and in New York, if you said doctor's day off, my husband, I would get a loan. So
interesting.
Yes, that was a time. It was a time.
Of course.
Exactly. And so I waited about 3 weeks, and I started construction in the space. I knew I was going to get it anyway. And the woman who called me, she said, do I understand there's construction in that space? I said, I can't imagine. So she said, we're calling to tell you that we're delighted to give you the loan.
Was that your first big loan? Was that your first big loan?
Yes.
Wow.
And so I said, remember, it has to be on Thursday. She said, why? And I said, it's doctor's day off. And she said, we don't need the doctor.
Oh. Wow.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway.
So I want to segue into the fact that Wynwood ended up having this fascinating concentration of women-owned businesses.
Yes.
And, of course, we made the Women of Wynwood because of this. But I really attribute you with putting that magic there, being at the gateway to Wynwood. I used you as a landmark. I would say, find Bernice, when people were trying to get to the restaurant, find Bernice, turn left at Bernice. And it struck me that the landmark position that you made, you had to be kind of a beacon, literally and metaphorically, because you had to be lit up. Your name was up there, you were established, you weren't playing around. And metaphorically, you had to be a beacon. You had to be very optimistic that things were going to go right.
If you build it, they'll come and you'll make it. You have to believe in yourself. And I was very fortunate. I had a husband who believed in me. And that was enough for me to believe in myself.
Kind of partnership,
yes,
collaboration
exactly.
At home.
And there wasn't his money, my money. We both worked, and that's the way it was.
I think what was incredible was that none of that kind of raw humanity of the urban core ever fazed you, Bernice. You know, you were always kind of couture and, you know, crack pipes and that's how I think of you, that kind of contrast of going into that landscape. And do you think that's just because you're a New Yorker?
Yes. All of making a living and making it is about making community. Surely you know that.
Hallelujah. I've heard of it. Yeah.
Surely you know that.
So
and
it is a collaborative
absolutely
magic.
Can't do it alone.
Right.
Absolutely.
We talk about this, you know, with other guests on the show, and the need for kind of clean and safe and community and all of us checking on one another.
Right. Absolutely.
But when you talk about the cleaning program, you know, I'm not sure if you remember the day that you stood.
I do not, but I'm happy to see it.
Front and center in the Women of Wynwood, all of these women-owned businesses
Fabulous.
that I feel you encourage just by your presence. And this is, in true Bernice style, the amazing outfit that you wore, shades and some kind of couture suit.
Always.
Hand in the air.
Always.
So I want to ask you about that, you know, because
we were here to stay. We were going to make it happen. What was your problem? And many of these women I trained, which is wonderful. I had Dina Matrani.
That's right.
And I had
Roshi.
Yeah, Roshi. And I also had, what's the young?
I'm sure you recognize a lot of them.
Yes.
There's Flavia Lowenstein.
Yep.
Right? We had Corel.
Yes.
They're the Matronis.
Yep, Matrani.
But I'll send you a list of all the people that were in that photograph. But I feel that you began that comfort level for all of us to be there.
We would have meetings at the gallery. And we included the men.
We did.
It's about being straight about who you are and what we wanted to do.
So I want to ask you about the Bernice look, and I'll tell you a little story about, you know, on the way here, I thought, I'm seeing Bernice. I have to wear my best suit.
Right.
And when I pulled it out, I thought, the last time I wore this was, to Bernice's opening at Art Miami. It's honestly my best suit, and that's how it makes me feel coming to see you. Forevermore, it will be known as the Bernice suit.
I hope so.
But there is a sense of occasion that you establish with the couture outfits,
yes,
the Hollywood smile. You make it all a lot of fun, your trailblazing. But I know it wasn't all fun.
It was hard.
How do you keep the morale going, Bernice?
I have an obligation to my artists first. When I don't make a sale, I feel like I've disappointed them. If I make a sale, we celebrate them. And we have a community within the gallery, too, which is a different community. They all have to be at each other's openings. It's because we're family. Would you miss a bar mitzvah or a...
No, of course not.
No.
Right.
They all have to come, and they do. They celebrate me in the fair. They celebrate each other, and we wish each other well. And so I'm the head honcho, but I need all those other honchos to make it happen.
So you create community within community,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
That kind of magic.
And they're so pleased when a client comes in for one artist and spots another artist and says, I want that. And I tell them, thank goodness such and such recommended you. And it's wonderful. And again, we make community.
So I wanted to ask you, you and I obviously are drawn to these very desolate urban core areas. I think at some point they're inextricably linked with whatever we produce. Don't you feel that your final product, these spectacular galleries, are inspired by what you see out the window? Maybe you put more color in because of the gray, concrete roughness of outside.
My only concern is that we don't want to gentrify an area where the original people are uncomfortable living there. When I go to Little Haiti, I'm very taken with the way their houses are pedicured and the gardens are perfect. And I don't want that feeling to leave. This is their community. If we get lucky, we can share the community. And I think that's what happened for me. I felt that building was wonderful, and I wanted to be there. I didn't want to be exactly in Wynwood, a little bit outside Wynwood, because I was doing something different.
Always.
Different. And so I was comfortable in being on the first street away.
Loving adventure the way that you do.
Getting off of this adventure. Go ahead.
Well, loving it as you do. I think of you as a truly fearless person. But there is physical fear and there is, reputational fear, right?
Right.
Going into these neighborhoods, most people are saying, is she crazy? What are you doing?
Yes.
And so they're kind of waiting for the tipping point.
Yes.
What does make you frightened, or whatever did make you frightened?
I didn't want to be a failure to my kids. I'm a role model.
You sure are.
Although they thought their mom was goofy and did goofy things and wore big hats and funny clothes. And why wasn't I wearing jeans like the other mothers? I love that they brought their friends in to see the art or to meet me. Until this day, my grandson, who's in college, says, Grandma, the other day I saw a Beverly Buchanan, and I saw your gallery first. And I told everybody how she worked with wood or wasn't a wood. And the kid went on and on and on.
How amazing. That's your legacy, Bernice,
yes,
in all of us.
And my daughter, Sarah, lists all the museums when they go away so they can go to all the museums. Always brings me a book back. I wish she'd bring me money. No. Anyway, that I have given them for themselves. And there were lots of times that I negated them because I had so much else to do. But they found their niche.
So did they realize that all of that was part of your presence, your showmanship, by a certain age, this tremendous Bernice showmanship?
Yes, they did.
So, we would have these Wynwood Arts District Association meetings, and you would never miss them. And I would study the sign-in sheet when I got home to see who didn't come because I was going to go get them for the next time. You were so easy, and you stood out in, the world's greatest creative class. You still stood out because this is how you signed it, like a royal proclamation, right? I'm going to show you.
That is too
so
funny.
I would scan them all, go, okay, who's the holdout? I'm coming. And you would take me 1 second.
Oh, is that funny?
I know.
You got too much dirt on me.
So, well, we go back a little way. Bernice, you always supported me personally. I know you as a friend, and I'm so grateful for that. But you dedicated your life to supporting women artists and minorities.
Yes.
And where did you
Don't think that I have a halo. I don't have a halo.
Oh, but I polish.
No. I just did the right thing.
And you were excited by it.
I was.
Right?
And it's interesting. Faith Ringgold said to me, I never sold anything in my life. The last piece I sold for her sold for $250,000 to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Amazing.
And Hung was my life. I arranged to get her father a visa to come to this country. It was a very special arrangement. Magda Compost Ponds is a MacArthur winner. Got $8,000 for making us look and see in a different way. And her works are being sold for $750,000.
My goodness.
Pepon and Amalia Mesa Baines, the two Latinas.
I'd like to ask about this sense of self and confidence and where that came from. How do you have such a clear sense of self, Bernice? Can you pinpoint the moment you felt it?
I don't think I ever felt it. I just had to do what I had to do. My father died when I was at 8. He was a rabbi, and I gave up all religion at 8 because he was a saintly person with a synagogue in Flushing, New York. And my mother was left with 5 children and a PhD with the lowest degree anybody got of those 5 children. And my mother was everything to me.
What was her name, Bernice?
No, hardly. Her name was Sarah, and she taught me about strength. And that's a woman's right.
Strength. How would you encourage, or what do you think Sarah would say to encourage all the trailblazers out there who would like to follow in your footsteps or be inspired?
Reach for the moon. If you can't reach the moon, you'll fall on a star.
Bernice, you put so much magic in Wynwood and certainly in my life. Thank you for everything.
I'm thanking you too. And this guy too.
Yeah, this guy, Adrian, my beloved Adrian.
He's a great guy. I wish you would stop going down my blouse though. Did you get that on there?
This episode was recorded at Wynwood Podcasting and produced by my friend Adrian Olivares. This episode is dedicated to Adrian's loving memory.